make sure that they're in the correct order. So give me 1 second here. Right, so we've already gone through introductions. We anticipate that you'll be countering the FNS MOU first this evening. Is that accurate?
Can we walk through the whole agenda? Sure. We don't have a proposed change.
Okay, yep, do that. So then followed by JESPA financial proposals, so compensation benefits, wondering about a break for dinner. I think the district is ready to counter Article 5 attendance, 8 leaves, and then wrap up the evening with a joint communication, which would include a summary of facts from this evening, and then agenda setting for April 17th. Is there something you'd like to change on the agenda or in order?
We'd like to talk about the proposals that we've made that you have not countered, and at the last meeting said that you rejected. So we'd like to talk a little bit about that before we jump into the agenda.
Is there anything else on the agenda in the appropriate order?
I think so.
How does it look for dinner break between JESPA's presentation and the district's presentation?
That's fine. Okay.
All right, so we'll open it up to you.
Well, we'd like to entertain a conversation. We've filed a grievance, a second grievance on the district's bargaining. We believe not in good faith. And so we're here to negotiate. We'd like to ask you to reconsider your position in refusing to counter our proposals or discuss our interests, which include staffing our students safely and adequately to meet their needs, and about our bargaining network and outsourcing.
Okay, well, I think that presents a good question. You began your discussion with indication that you filed a grievance on this subject, which I was surprised to hear about, considering it's a matter that pertains to collective bargaining, which we're doing here at the table. So do you want to discuss this issue at the table or in the grievance process? I would assume most people would want to discuss it at the table, but I guess I'm kind of wondering if it makes sense to discuss that, given that you've initiated a separate procedure under the current collective bargaining agreement that has nothing to do with negotiations. So
it has a lot to do with negotiations, and what we were told was that the district will be here to negotiate in good faith. We want to talk about our proposals. We'd like to see a counter. We'd like to see some discussion. We'd like to see some creativity, talking about the important issues that our members care about. We have filed a grievance because our contract has been violated now twice with the imposition of a facilitator 3 hours into bargaining, and with the outright rejection and refusal to discuss our proposal. So yes, those are grievances. If you'd like to negotiate and talk, those grievances become easily settled.
well, the fact of the matter is, and I anticipate I have discerned a misunderstanding about the concept of good faith bargaining. I think when you go and read about this, you'll see that good faith bargaining does not require either side to make a counter, to accept a proposal, or to make a compromise on a proposal. So, I think that your grievance and your point of view assumes the exact opposite. That has no basis in I guess that's it's kind of where I'm coming from. And I understand this is a repeat of the discussion from the last negotiation session that we had. But the bottom line is, like, for example, if we make a proposal to say that every member of the bargaining unit has to wear blue jeans on Fridays. Are you expected to come back and say, no, not Fridays, but what about Thursdays? No, of course not. You're permitted and you're engaged in good faith bargaining when you say, we don't want that as part of our collective bargaining agreement. And that's what we've got going on here. The JESPA made a couple of proposals that you were allowed to present them. We mulled them over. We determined that they infringe upon traditional management rights that are set forth in the collective bargaining agreement and are standard in the field, and determined that we're not interested in having that subject be a part of this collective bargaining agreement. I know you disagree, but that's the district's position.
I guess what our people want to know is from you, Matt. Why isn't the district interested in talking about staffing? And believes that discussions around staffing our buildings appropriately, making sure there's job security for our bargaining unit work. Why is the main question that I would think our members have.
I would respond by saying we are interested, but what you put forward in terms of proposed solutions are an infringement upon our management rights. We're not interested in that.
Well, so what we normally would do is discuss the issues and come to a reasonable solution. And what we see is that the district already has been working with us on the very issues we've been talking about. We have Jeff Gatlin, who we'd love to see at the table because he has been working with us on outsourcing and bringing work back in-house and changing policies. And we'd love to see Perry here, who's interested in the same things that our members are interested in, and that we've already been working on. So the idea that you reject our proposals in full because they infringe upon management rights is an interesting argument that you can make. But we are sitting here working on, trying to work on the issues that affect our members' lives daily. And I don't believe that you're not interested in it because of management rights, because I'm seeing that the district is interested in the same things we are.
You know, I recognize your position, Mickey, and you filed 2 grievances. We have a separate process to work through to resolve those issues. That's where we're at right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I speak? There's a difference in the employer talking about an issue and receiving input from an employee group concerning an issue. There's a difference between that and then committing to certain things in a collective bargaining agreement. And it's the latter that the district is not willing to entertain. So I'm not sure what process you're referring to with respect to how the district has been working with JESPA on these things. What process is that? Ms. Flores?
Jeff Gatlin and Terry Salmons presented to the school board in February, plan to bring work in-house. We've had conversations about outsourcing with the district over the last 2 years.
So in what context? In what context were the conversations?
They were at the negotiations table.
So
we've had a process where we sit here and we discuss and we negotiate, and we don't have to like each other's ideas or positions. We don't have to like the way they're said. You don't have to like what language they're spoken in, but we've had a pretty good track record of working through it. In the past, even when you disagree and we disagree with you, that's the point. But it's kind of looking like you're refusing to negotiate at all. And on top of many other things, negotiating in bad faith. We have the right to file a grievance, and if you want to say that the grievance process now stops you from bargaining. That's not true. We can resolve the grievance right here by bringing the people to the table who also care about the things we care about and talking through how some sort of solution that doesn't hurt staff students and put them in dangerous situations and gives our people that work here, that work for you, some sense of respect and job security.
I don't want to waste your time repeating myself, but
Well, I think your position is a mistake, and I think our members think it's a mistake for the district to have hired you. To represent them because you don't work here.
well, thank you. Yeah, making things personal, I'm not sure that makes much sense. You know, I sort of wonder if, you believe that you can keep saying this and keep repeating yourself and saying the same position and throw out accusations of failure to bargain in good faith, which are just legally wrong. I mean, one of the reasons why I think I'm here is because you, or the group, I should say, not you, but you are, throwing out these sort of things as if they were true, and they are not. They are wrong. And it's things like that that I think are preventing us from discussing the real issues here. For example, we've got a certain amount of time tonight. You're here. You've agreed to give a proposal on compensation, which I assume is a proposal that will be very important to your group. Yet instead of talking about it, you're having us reiterate something that was explained very clearly in the last session. I understand that you don't, maybe you don't appreciate me being here and articulating that position. Fair, but that's the position. So if you'd like to get to the business of bargaining something that is actually permitted under the collective bargaining agreement that you all agree to, then we should get to that, in my view.
We come to the table with interests. We want to speak about them and talk about them and have a conversation. We have spent all year engaging members, doing surveys, speaking to people in buildings who are working with our kids. These are the priorities that we have. We want to engage in a conversation and find solutions to these issues. That is what we do at the table, and that is what we're trying to do now. We have seen people. This is difficult, right? We've seen half of the transportation budget go towards private companies. Taxpayer dollars spent on public services are not being used to pay people to work in these jobs. We have seen paraeducators in our buildings who are not JEFCO employees. We are talking about consistency, safety for students. So this isn't just about us sitting here. It's about the students that we're serving in JEFCO. It's a community. That's why we bring these issues here. We see them every day. We deal with them every day. And we want to continue a conversation about it. That's what we're doing.
I would propose that we jump into the agenda to get to the issues that we've prioritized for this evening. Would we like to move into that, Vanessa Pilot?
Well, I just want to make it very clear that we have priorities as well, and you're dismissing these members' priorities. We can jump into these issues as well, but staffing and outsourcing our bargaining unit work and just basic respect of the staff are the number one priorities they talk about daily to us. So I think, while you may want us to move on and stop talking about this, we're here ready to talk about these issues.
So I think you have the district's position on the issue. If you'd like to say anything else, we're happy to listen.
I'm going to give you some information. So I'm a paraeducator at Serenity, 7 years, and been in the district for 16. I speak for a lot of the paraeducators. I have a lot of personal experience with the outsourcing. We currently have 6 parents at my school that are outsourced. When you add up, what I was able to find is there's 4 companies that are being paid to the tune of $3.7 million for outsourcing for what I do. When I ask the outsourcers, you know, hey, there's job openings for Jeffco, why don't you apply for it? They won't, because they'll take a pay cut. So what does that say? You know, we're talking about belonging, relationship. If a contractor makes more than I do, how is that going to be a sense of belonging, a sense of consistency? You know, we're not able to pick who comes in. The agency sends people. We have very specific special needs kids. And so we're not able to see, is this person going to be a good fit for these kids' needs? Just get dumped with these people and we have no idea who they are. They don't have the same trainings. They don't have the same expectations. A lot of times they don't have the same job responsibilities, but yet they make more than I do. But then the district tells me your value. I don't see it. That's yeah, I don't, you know, we have a hop, skip, ride. I know Trevor's not here to speak about that. We have about 15 cars every day that come to and from my school. So I don't see how this type of money could be sustainable for replacing Jeffco employees with outsourced people, and then have the Jeffco Tribes 2025 shoved down my throat for job stability, consistency, and belonging, because they don't have to.
Darcy Hassler, I'm just going to piggyback a little bit on that. Our interest that we brought was on student-centered and adequate staffing, and centering decisions on the needs and well-being of students is crucial to our collective success. And we were seeking to create a team to create those appropriate staffing ratios. I know staffing ratios already exist, and we just wanted to discuss them. Previously, last year, we actually bought ratios and those were denied, and that's fine. We just wanted to talk about them to create that extraordinary student experience and provide job security and stability for ESPs, recognizing that our students and our people are our strength. I took about an hour and a half and calculated the para hours per building, as well as the enrollment based on the October counts and the recommendations in the SBB, and I understand their recommendation. It's not a requirement. Principals are free to choose whatever they want. But the recommendations are 55 hours per 1,000 students, which is 5.5%. And when I looked at all elementary schools, on average, it was about double that, which the actuals were. Similarly, for the middle schools and the high schools, the actuals were about double the recommendation. So we just wanted to bring that to the table and have the district just take a look at it. And it's a horrible decision to have to make. Do I want a paraprofessional to help do small groups? Or do I want a digital teacher librarian full-time instead of half-time? Or an SEL half full-time instead of half-time? And these are horrible decisions that are being made. I know you've heard all this before, but when we look at the actuals versus the recommendations, again, maybe the SBB needs to be looked at. And again, I just looked at paraprofessionals, it didn't take long.
Okay, one more thing. It's important to hear the interests because they relate very much so to our needs with compensation, with benefits, how we're supported as workers. So it is also important to share these things loudly and proudly. We need our people to hear it. We need the district to hear it. This is what is happening in our buildings. Sandra. We'd like to take a quick caucus to just prep really briefly, 5-10 minutes for the counter. Good.